My existence make you mad? Does the fact that, yes, I am a mouthpiece for the people of New York's 14th Congressional District upset you? Well, I have help for you. Call 1-800-CRY-NOW. That's 1-800-CRY-NOW.
Designated by Mr. Lawson of Florida, pursuant to House Resolution 8, I inform the House that Mr. Lawson will vote nay on House Resolution 483 amendments. He votes nay.
For what purpose?
All right, guys. Yes, that is AOC crying on the House floor. After almost a couple weeks ago, telling Sarah Palin to 1-800-CRY-NOW in response to Sarah Palin calling her a fake feminist. Okay, so once again we have AOC talking big game, but when the going gets tough, she folds. Now, some of you guys are asking, well, why was AOC crying on the House floor? Because she's not crying at the border where she probably should be crying if she's going to cry. Well, she's crying because she folded on voting no to funding the Iron Dome, right? The defense system that Israel uses to not only protect themselves, but also to protect American troops as well, too. A lot of people kind of leave that out. Yeah, the progressives essentially made a move this week in the House to force the Democrats to nix the $1 billion in funding for Israel's Iron Dome out of their budget bill, right? So at that point, another representative had to bring the bill to the floor individually for a vote. That's what happened. And at that point, AOC voted no. But at the last minute, she decided to switch her vote from no to present. And then after she switched her vote, that's when you can see her kind of going up to a colleague and crying like a baby, right? Because she essentially folded on the progressive cause, right? And don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not on board with what AOC is doing and what the progressives want in this situation. This discussion is not about Israel and their defense spending. This discussion is purely about AOC and how soft she seems to be, right? She does not seem to be cut out for politics. Because I'm going to tell you, the progressives, they're going to go after her for this. They're going to go after her hard, as you have Mr. Marc Lamont Hill, who is super anti-Israel, already taking shots at AOC, basically saying voting present on the Iron Dome issue is an act of political cowardice. Vote yes or no. Let the people know where you stand. Otherwise, it's just a cynical gesture designed to sustain a radical brand while performing the status quo. Yo, I kind of agree with that, right? I don't agree with Marc Lamont Hill on much, but I actually do agree with him on this. Like, AOC, you got to vote yes or no. You can't cop out on this vote, especially when your squad, your team forced the Democrats to nix spending for the Iron Dome from the original bill in the first place. You got to follow up, bro, right? Because your teammates, Ilhan Omar, Cori Bush, Rashida Tlaib, they all followed through, right? They all followed through and voted no. Now, they're going to take a lot of backlash for it, obviously. But hey, I kind of respect the fact that they followed through on their word. Even if I don't agree with their vote, I'm just saying, hey, they had the cojones to do it. AOC did it, right? And word on the street is that AOC did this because she's thinking about running for Senate, right? She's thinking about running for Chuck Schumer's seat. And if she was to vote no on this funding for Israel's Iron Dome, that would basically kill her dreams of becoming a senator for New York, because we all know that in New York, there's a large kind of, pro-Israel presence, right? So you have to kind of be in line with that. And if you're seen as being, anti-Israel, you're going to have a hard time being a politician in that state. So AOC ultimately put her political career ahead of the principles that she claims that she's for, right? That's ultimately what she did. And the progressives are going to tear her new one on this. I just know. And to me, this is interesting because I've been talking about this a lot, but the vote on the $1.2 trillion infrastructure package is actually coming up. It's supposed to be coming up on Sunday, right? On the 27th, that's supposed to be the day that the politicians promised to vote on it. As of now, we still don't have anything in regards to the $3.5 trillion socialist families plan that AOC and the squad wants, in which they say that they're going to vote no on the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure deal if they can't get to 3.5 trillion. And it seems like to me, the more time that passes, it seems like they're going to go ahead and just put that vote on the floor for the $1.2 trillion bill. And at that point, she's going to be tested again in regards to whether or not she's going to be able to vote no, right? And if this right here is any sign, bruh, she really, in my opinion, I don't think that she has the cojones to stick it out, right? If she's crying about this, right? She's crying about this, bruh. This next vote coming up on this $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, it's going to be bad. Because if she folds on that, this will be twice that she folded on some major kind of progressive priorities. And the progressive left, people like Jimmy Dore, they're getting fed up with people like AOC, right? Because they see AOC as ineffective. They see her as a talker, as somebody that's, going out here and grandstanding without actually being an effective legislator. Because, the fact is, she's just not. She's one of the most least effective legislators in this country. That's just a fact. And you cannot have politicians, you cannot have people that say they're fighting for you crying on the floor because they had to make a hard vote. Like, people have to make hard decisions in their life all the time, right? You're supposed to be a public servant. You're supposed to be a leader, right? Leaders don't cry in stressful situations. You got to stick it out, right? But her crying because she had to make this decision, a decision, in my opinion, that, really is, again, she put her own political career ahead of her beliefs. Hey, like, what message does that send about who you are as a person, right? What message does that send? It sends a message that you are not cut out for the emotional battle of being a politician, right? For making hard decisions, which means that you probably definitely not cut out to be a senator. Not cut out to be a senator or governor or any of the other things that the woke revolutionaries wants AOC to run for. Or maybe it's more cynical than that. Maybe AOC is pulling another political stunt here, where she's trying to make it seem like, oh, this was such a hard vote. I'm sorry, guys, I couldn't follow through on my progressive promise, but, hey, trust me, it was hard for me. It was tough for me. Because that seems to be kind of what she's doing, right? She went and voted no and then turned around and voted present, right? So it could just be a political stunt to make it so the progressive backlash isn't as much as it otherwise would be if she just went up there and voted present from the start. That's probably most likely what it is. Okay, it's probably just another political stunt from AOC. Remember, guys, this comes after last week where AOC was at the Met Gala running around in a tax-a-rich dress with tax dodgers and rich celebrities, right? Talking about she want to tax the rich, talking about she's a revolutionary, talking about she is working class. But everybody you hang around is not working class. Again, it's starting to sound like to me that AOC she don't really stand for anything. She doesn't stand for anything at all, right? She wants to be a celebrity, okay? And then when she has to make a hard decision, she wants to boohoo and cry, want people to feel bad for her. And it's like, no, that's not how politics works. Politics is a contact sport. It's a contact sport. It's not built for the weak. It's not built for the faint of heart. But, what I find interesting, guys, is how AOC can take time to cry for this, but she's not crying about what's going on at the border, right? She hasn't found time to go and cry about the kids in cages and the undocumented migrants, right, the politically correct term, that's wrapped in aluminum foil in these migrant detention centers that she claimed she cared about so much last year under Trump. So you can cry about funding defense for Israel, but you can't cry about what's going on at the border, the Biden's border crisis. You can't cry about that. Again, I find it interesting, man. I just find it interesting. But hey, this is just another example of AOC talking a big game, and then when it comes down to actually executing on her promises, she just folded, man. She put her own political career ahead of, the things that she claims she believes in. So, hey, she got another big vote coming up. If she can't take this, this next vote is really going to be tough for her. And if she folds on this next vote, the progressives are going to give her a whole lot of trouble if she folds on this next vote. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.